Hi, I'm Mahmoud. Hope you're doing alright. My brother-in-law recently got back into writing music and asked me if I could give him some pointers. He got himself Cubase, and to help him out, I built this template. All of that I thought would be incredibly useful for you guys as well. The template is free and you can get it on my homepage. Link is down below in the description. Before we jump into the video, a quick word from our sponsor, Red Bull.
I don't have a sponsor. It's just me.
So please leave a like, leave a comment, and if you want more, subscribe, and maybe even check out the other videos. Thank you so much. The music you've been hearing right now, it's all stock sounds. I didn't use even a single external plugin or sample, which means this setup is incredibly beginner friendly. There's some cool stuff already set up for you, and that's what this video is for. I'm going to explain to you how the template works, what you need to pay specific attention to, and how to tweak it to your tastes with the goal of getting what's in your head out into the world. I did some EQing here, as you can see. Here's a curve. This applies to the track, to the whole track. You might need it, you might not. That's up to you. This is one of the things that is completely up to your taste. Change that, disable that, however you want. One thing I also added is this saturator. I didn't do much with it, but it's there to just push the whole song a little bit further. And lastly, I added a limiter to get it a bit louder. That's it, that's the master chain. I used this plugin, which is called Groove Agent. This comes for free with Cubase if you buy it. And I routed the drums out to different channels. How do you do that? Well, I've already done that for you in this template, but if you want to know how to do that, you go to Studio, and then you go to VST Instruments. That's this window right here. And then you go to this here, Activate Outputs, and you activate all of the outputs that you need or want. And then you can route different sets of the different parts of the drum out to different channels and mix them. Here's how I did that. I opted to use a kick bus, snare bus, a toms bus, and a cymbal bus. This should be enough for most uses. Here's the kick, here's the snares, and as you can see, it all goes to different channels. How do you add sounds to the drum? If you don't want to use these sounds, you can go and open this here, and then you go to the media bay right here. If that doesn't show, you can just click on here and you click media. And then you go onto loops and samples, and then you pick whatever library that you have. You should have a few libraries preloaded when you install Cubase. And then you can just go here and let's say you're looking for a kick drum. Then you can just go through here and click and just drag it into here. And then you can route it with this button. Use the media bay. It has a lot of great sounds. I decided to route them this way so you can have full control over the sounds and mix them differently if you so choose. I didn't do much here at all. The only thing I did add is a drum reverb bus, which just has this stock plugin, the Roomworks plugin, and I picked the Surreal vocal preset and just tweaked it a little to work with the snare. That's it. How do you send a snare to the reverb? You click on the snare bus, and then you go on send, and you choose that effects bus, which is the drum reverb, which is already selected here. You can also choose how much of that signal you want to send. And then on the drum reverb bus itself, you can also automate that. So the drum reverb isn't always there if you don't want it to be. Now, if you want to write the drum part, you go onto this channel here, draw in a MIDI field. And you open that and you start drawing the drums in. Let's do that here quickly. Kick. Let's do the snare. Pretty simple. This demo will include all of the MIDI. So if you're interested in learning how I did that, feel free to look at it. Let's start with the first bass sound, which is the bass sustain sound. I'm going to play that soloed. It's just a preset that I picked and tweaked a little. Same goes for the bass short sound. Sounds like this. These two specific sounds are vastly different from one another, and you can use them together, obviously, but I usually try and use them interchangeably. Well, not necessarily, but usually you want layers and layers of sound, and sometimes you want to change that up. So this gives you the option to do that. On the bus itself, I have a compressor. This compressor isn't listening to the bass itself. It's listening to the kick drum, as you can see here, as well as the snare. This is what we call a side chain. Basically, the goal is to have clarity on the kick and snare whenever they hit, and you achieve that by ducking the other elements out of the way every time those kick and snares hit. You do that by loading a compressor onto the sound that you want ducked. That specific compressor then listens to the kick and snare and ducks the signal every time they hit. The how much part of how much you want to duck it is defined by the threshold here. The more you pull that down, the more it's going to get ducked. For how long is the release part. If you want a quick pump and you want it to go back up to the threshold, to the 0 point basically, you pull the release down as fast as possible. If you want it slower and you want the envelope to be like that, slow down the release. The longer it is, the longer it's going to take to go back to the 0 point. And that is going to be decided by the tempo of your song and your specific taste. So that's one thing you need to pay attention to. This compressor idea I've also put on other elements of the song, which is here. You don't need to worry about setting it up, but you do need to change the threshold as well as the release. The rest is already taken care of for you. I have a few different synth sounds here. One is a synth pad, well, 2 synth pads and a few lead sounds. Let's start with the first synth pad. Let's play that. And to complement that, I added this. These are all things that you can completely change. This is your playground. This is just a setup so you can get started. You don't need to use these. You can if you want, but you don't need to. And here also I have a pad effects routed already, which is empty right now. I didn't need it. If you do need it, feel free to add your effects that you want, be it a delay, reverb, or otherwise, and just play around with it. You can again use the send portion of the track here to send to the pad effects parallel effects channel onto the lead portion of the song. Again, the same Retrologue plugin, and let's listen to that sound. This is the main lead sound. It's very expressive, and if you're good on the keys, you can totally write some awesome stuff with that. The second sound that I wanted in there was this kind of cheap organ sound that I enjoyed, and that's this part. And the third one, also retrologue, is this bell sound here. And all of these together make up the chorus of this specific demo track here. One last thing that I added, well, actually two things. Here's a bonus. I added a sub drop for you. You can use this to add energy to your songs. Sounds like this. Feel free to use that at your discretion. Be reasonable or not, up to you. And a reverse cymbal effect. These are really nice additions to give the song a bit life. The final thing that I didn't add is a snare bomb, because that depends on your snare. What you can do is basically take a snare sound that you like, drop it onto this channel and add a bunch of reverb, and it will give a nice explosive sound to your snare when you want it. I added some vocal chains here for you to use. I don't have any vocals in this specific song, but I've already pre-mixed the channels. So basically, if you're recording raw vocals, you can just drop them in here, and basically the song is mixed, pre-mixed for you. What you then need to do is decide how much delay and reverb you want, if you want any at all. And that's that. Hey, real quick, I forgot to show you something, which is the export tab on this session. Really simple. Once you've finished your song and you want to export it, you can put a tab here and another one here. Drag that however long the song is. And then you can click on export here on this add cycle marker. And then you can use Control M, and then you can add a name to that, demo track, like that. And then when you want to export it, go to the export audio tab, and then you can click on cycle marker here, click on demo track, and it's going to export that exactly as long as you've already put it, without you needing to put the cycle markers again. That's really convenient because you can have more than one song in one of your sessions and still export them cleanly. Then you can choose a preset of how you want to export that. Click on the master here, make sure it's single up here. Click on master, and then export the song to wherever you want to export it. Most of the channels are completely empty though. The channels that I did do stuff on are the vocal channels, as well as the master. The rest is completely EQ free. No other stuff has been done to this song. It's all stock. This is how that sounds. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please leave a comment down below. And if you're actually using this template and you write music in it, please let me know. I'm curious to hear what you did. For those that don't know, I have a second template already up on my homepage that focuses on rock and metal music. It's also for free. There's also a video that explains how it works. Feel free to check that out as well. I hope you've enjoyed that, and thanks so much for watching. I've been Mahmoud. See you next time.